Welcome to Fashion Neurosis, Jerry Hall.
Thank you. It's lovely to be here.
Can you tell me what you're wearing today and why you chose these particular clothes?
I'm wearing this Tom Brown cardigan and some Gucci velvet jeans. I just thought as I'm lying down, I'd be comfortable. And also, it's gorgeous. I love Tom Brown's things.
I love
And these Gucci jeans are very flattering.
And the ballet flats.
Yes, they're just comfy.
Yeah.
No, I live in the country now, and so I'm often wearing jeans and cardigans and, I still come up to town and dress up a bit, but mostly I'm just sort of having a really good time in the country.
Well, you look dazzling.
Thank you.
And you're the original 70s supermodel, and you were a pioneer of a new genre of models as much valued for charismatic personality as your looks. And you have a great southern wit, and you once quoted your mother saying, "A wife should be a maid in the living room, a cook in the kitchen, and a whore in the bedroom." And I wondered, how did you
No, it actually goes, my mother taught me a wife should be a maid in the living room, a cook in the kitchen, and a whore in the bedroom. But I think I'll hire the first two and do the last bit myself.
Well, you just made it seem fun to everybody else. And I remember noting your kind of poise and your style and how you flipped things and owned things in this kind of, this exciting way. And it was really fun to witness that. And
well, I've had so much fun. I've had the most wonderful career. I was so lucky. I mean, there was my mother and my grandmother and us 5 girls, and my father was away a lot. But my mother loved watching old Hollywood movies, and she loved glamour. And she taught us to love glamour. And when I was 16, I went off to Paris and started modeling, got discovered, working with great photographers and French Vogue and amazing designers. And I was just so lucky. My mom said, actually, I went to Saint Tropez because my mom said the Riviera is the place to be because we'd watched To Catch a Thief. No. And she made me all these fabulous clothes I took in my backpack. There were like copies of, there was like a Givenchy snakeskin with all these panels. Your legs came out. And they were like very, very fitted and tight, with dolman sleeves and 3/4 length.
wow.
And she made a red satin one that had a little thin belt with rhinestone lips. And then it went tight to the knees and then flared out.
Oh my God.
And she had made these feather boas that we sewed strips of marabou feathers together. And
great mom.
she had me all ready. Everyone was like, "Wow, where'd you get those clothes?" My mom made them, going to the Mesquite Sewing Center.
Wow, that's so cool. That's so impressive.
But I still love glamour. I still love clothes.
Yeah, well, you're very good at them. You say you're dressed comfortable, but you look absolutely stunning. And
thank you.
No kind of concession to country living in your
And I've got
your
my
edit.
Tracy Emin love necklace on.
Because I remember meeting you in Mustique when I was 17 and you were probably 22.
Oh.
And I remember you lying on the banquette in Basil's bar, like just leaning back and your hair fanning out. And I remember that you were wearing a pair of tiny little pale blue satin shorts. And you told me about doing leg wrestling in Texas.
Wow.
And were you the champion of leg wrestling?
Yes, I was the girls' champion of my school district for leg wrestling. It was great fun. No, it's all been fun. I've loved every single minute. I've had the best life. And still now, you know, I wake up every morning, I go outside, have my cup of coffee, listen to the birds singing, and I think, oh, I'm so lucky to have a beautiful garden and, you know, 4 beautiful children, 3 grandchildren, and have had a fabulous career, all because of loving fashion.
Yeah, no, it's a great it's a great thing to be alongside with, because it's motivating. Even, you know, people suggest it's a kind of surface thing, but it actually does make you feel good, and then it's gives you drive and energy. And because I remember back in you know, when I met you, and I remember walking.
What a good memory you have.
No, well, you made
Wow.
a real impression on me, because you know, firstly, I was in Mustique, and I was there. I had been sort of sent there to escape certain circumstances.
Lucky you.
I was supposed to take people out riding there, but no one ever wanted to go riding. And you were there with Mick, and I think you were there for Colin Tennant, who owned the island. He
That's right.
used to have a big party every year, and I
That's
I
right.
remember Colin, like the one time someone wanted to go riding, and I forgot or slept in, and he got absolutely furious.
Oh, he
and
had a terrible temper.
I know. Did you ever see him angry?
Oh,
Because
yes.
he was terrifying.
Yes.
What do you remember? What he did?
Oh, he was crazy. He did crazy things. But, I mean, he made Mystique so beautiful. And, you know, brought Oliver Messel to do all those beautiful houses. And brought Princess Margaret. And, you know, he brought so many people. He had great ideas, but when he'd lose his temper, he would just be crazy. You know,
It was
everyone
quite
would run.
Yeah, it was like sort of someone in a Tennessee Williams play or something.
Oh,
He
yeah.
would become deranged.
I love his wife Anne.
Yeah, Anne is amazing.
She's so great. I loved her book.
Her book is incredible,
Yeah.
and kind of having this kind of new life in her 90s.
I know.
Very, very funny.
I saw her a few weeks ago.
Did
She's
you?
in such good form. She's a great survivor.
Because I remember in Mustique walking behind you and Mick. Well, we must have been going to some gathering or something, and I remember walking behind you both, and I remember what you were wearing, because you looked so amazing, and I'd never seen anyone dressed like you, and you were wearing like an oyster-colored velour skin-tight leggings and a matching skin-tight top, and your hair was cascading down your back, and you've talked in the past about liking to dress for the man you're with, and I did Mick love what you wore. What kind of things did you like to wear for him?
Who knows?
You know.
No, I mean, it's interesting because you've described 2 things by what I was wearing, and I have the same kind of memory. I remember people by what they were wearing. You know, I don't remember where we were or what their names are, but if their clothes made an impression, I'll remember them, and I'll remember every single bit of their clothes. It's like a clothes memory.
Yeah. Also, I think certain people bring out the desire to dress in a particular way. I actually love it if a man wants me to wear certain things, and it must have been so much fun for you with this spectacular figure and being so beautiful to kind of, did you enjoy indulging that kind of fantasy in your admirers?
Well, I mean, Mick and I, we used to go a lot to parties, you know, and so we would always dress up. And we used to go, we spent I think it was 3 years going practically every night to Studio 54, and everyone dressed up. It was such a spectacle. It was so much fun. But also, you know, being out with Mick and going to these events, we used to get photographed a lot. And so I used to always take care to, you know, wear something beautiful. And I always liked sexy and glamorous, you know. And you know, Mick, of course, he's a man. They normally like you to dress sexy. But
Because some men like a
I don't think I
prim look.
always dress for the man. I think I mostly dress for myself and my girlfriends, because they really notice. Men don't really notice clothes very much. I mean, they don't notice a lot. Like, sort of, you know, men won't notice if women have had too much plastic surgery or anything. They just say, oh, she looks pretty good. You know, it's like they don't really, it's really women who really notice everything.
It's true that about men not noticing plastic surgery.
Yeah, they don't notice a lot.
Whereas we spot the smallest tweak. It's like,
I know.
That's quite good. Or,
And women really notice your clothes. You know, men will say, oh, you look lovely, but women will go, oh, I love that jacket. That's such a nice cut. Where'd you get that? You know, it's a whole detail women see.
do you think men more notice the effect that your clothes are having on them?
Yes.
Yeah, because you grew up in Texas, and you're with a dominant and alcoholic father who wanted sons but had 5 daughters. And do you think you suppressed aspects of yourself to accommodate your father and
Well,
his...
he wasn't alcoholic.
Oh, really?
No, people say that, but I don't know
read
where
that,
that came
but-
from. He was General Patton's staff sergeant on all his campaigns in World War II. And he was a much decorated hero, and he was extremely organized. And we had lists of chores to do and things to do. He did want boys, but he ended up with 5 girls. But we had to do all of our chores or we would get in trouble. And he was quite frightening. But I think he did the best he could, you know. I think he did the best he could, and I think my mother did too.
Yeah.
I mean, I tend to not think about the past or bad things. I tend to just like think about the future or now. I never go to psychiatrists or doctors even. I don't really like the idea of like labeling yourself or taking medication or anything like that. I mean, I think your mind is like a computer. You just put in and it just reads it, you know, like, so if you say to yourself, you wake up in the morning, you say, oh, I'm so thankful for everything. I'm so happy. I'm going to have the most wonderful, joyful day. I think your mind just takes that in and that happens.
Yeah.
I mean, my philosophy that's really gotten me through everything in life is I always say, what will be, will be. And it works even when you're sad, even if you're having success, what will be, works. So you don't put too much attention on success or trying to achieve it because, you know, what will be, will be. And the same with sorrow. I mean, life is full of sorrow and grief, and people you love die and horrible things happen. But it's just the way we are as humans, you know. We get old, we die, you know, things happen.
Well,
It's worked for me.
Yes,
it's kept
it
me.
clearly
I don't
has.
think it's false positive. I think it's programming your brain, and your body listens to your brain.
It's true, and the other way around. And I suppose I'm always interested in, like, sometimes I'll find myself kind of adjusting my reactions, and if that doesn't kind of, kind of further whatever it is I want, I sometimes go back and pull things apart and think, I did. My desire to please my father made me behave in maybe kind of...
Well, that's a good thing, to be watching yourself, to get to know yourself.
Yeah, that's what I meant, really. Like, do you think...
Well, Aristotle says the secret to happiness is to know yourself. And I suppose, yeah, if you think that you're affected by your wanting to please someone else, and if you're diverted from your course, which would please you more,
Yeah,
I think that's important to look at.
it's interesting to know
Yeah.
what it was and why you still do it sometimes.
I mean, your father, what a brilliant genius painter, but strong character.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I know. So strong men are always very attractive.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. But I mean, now I'm not dating at all, and not really planning on it. Next birthday, I'll be 70, which is quite old. I mean, we used to live 70, was 70. And then since antibiotics, now average is like 80. But some people live to be 90. I actually had a great-grandmother live to be 106.
Wow.
So you never know.
Yeah.
But definitely more summers have gone than are coming.
Yeah.
So, you want to enjoy life now. I quite enjoy being older because you can sit in the shade and, you don't have rivals, you don't have delusions.
What do you mean by rivals?
Well, there's no women who are chasing my man, that's for sure, because I haven't got one. I quite enjoy that. And, I don't feel I have any, I don't have to prove myself in any way. I feel I've been lucky. I've had a wonderful career. And it's gone on so long, it's ridiculous.
And it's still going on, isn't
it's
it?
just, now it's just pleasurable, a bit of reminiscing. And I still enjoy the thing of, when you get clothes on and you do a photograph, there's that moment of what shall I do? It's like a moment of creativity. I still enjoy that.
Yeah.
And, delusional, not being delusional is, when you fall in love with someone, you're just completely delusional about everything, That's part of falling in love, isn't it?
Yeah. Because I was reading that you said when you were 14, this guy slipped a quarter of a tab of acid in your drink. And when you were tripping, you looked in the mirror and thought, oh my God, I'm so beautiful. And I wondered if, was that the first time you really realized how beautiful you were?
Yes. And that was the night I decided I would go off and be a model, which, coming from a small town in Texas, to have this dream of going off to Paris and becoming a fashion model was very unrealistic. And, but taking, that LSD, I don't know, it just made me I stared in the mirror and just sort of thought, wow, this is what I'm going to do. It gave me confidence.
Yeah, it's so interesting, isn't it? That it seemed like this kind of...
it changed my life.
Yeah, it's so lucky, isn't it? It's a real...
Could have been bad.
Yes, because LSD can go anyway. And
I'd never take it again.
No.
Changed my whole life. Just to have that thought,
Because when you were describing these amazing clothes that your mother made you, and you went off to Paris, and you said that you'd met Simone de Beauvoir and Jean-Paul
Yes.
Sartre in a cafe. And
Yes. I met so many amazing people.
what were you wearing? How did that
Well,
conversation strike up? I was envisaging you in
I would put on these amazing outfits that my mother made me. And then I had a friend who had a Great Dane, and I got a rhinestone collar for the Great Dane, and I would take it to La Coupole.
Oh yeah, that was great.
And everyone would just stare at me. And I had these giant platform shoes, which made me about 6'4". And people would invite me to have a drink with them.
And is that where you met Jean-Paul Sartre?
And then they would invite me to lunch, or, to give me food, because I didn't have much money in those days. And I was very happy to have a meal. And I would just tell them my story about growing up.
And they were completely transfixed.
I met Salvador Dali.
Really?
Yeah. And
did he try to make you do some sort of performance?
He asked me to go to Spain and do a film he wanted to do of me nude with a white chiffon scarf running through his garden. But I said, I'm so sorry, I couldn't do it because I'd promised my mother not to do nudes.
Really?
I really regretted that.
So
I should have done it. But we became friends, and I met up with him and his wife several times.
I love your code of ethics imposed by your mother. It's sort of like a kind of safety net that you could.
It was good when I was young.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially being so far from home that
somehow
you could have these kind of guides, oh, I can't do that because my mother said no. It's so kind of far-fetched, but it obviously worked very well.
It did.
Because you were great friends with the brilliant fashion illustrator Antonio Lopez. And I wondered, when did you decide to wear your hair on that with the amazing side parting? And did he help you define your look?
He did. I used to pose for him a lot, and he would draw me, and he would draw my makeup and my hair and everything how he wanted it to be. And then I would look at it and think it looked so nice, and I would copy what he'd drawn. I'd start to copy all the makeup and wearing my hair like how he'd drawn it. And he was a great inspiration.
Yeah, he was a famous kind of, well, how would you describe that? He was an image.
He was a fashion illustrator. And fashion illustration, used to be more popular than it is now. You hardly ever see it anymore. But, he would do fashion illustrations for Vogue and Elle and different magazines. And he was very, very talented. He was very creative. I actually lived with him and his two friends. We lived together. We shared an apartment for a bit. And he was lovely. He came with me. He was my boyfriend, sort of, but, actually he was gay.
Yeah.
But he came with me to Jamaica with English Vogue when I did my first photo shoot with English Vogue. And Grace Coddington was the editor, and Norman Parkinson was the photographer. And it was such wonderful shoots. And Antonio's in a lot of the photos with me. He was just very inspirational. He always had movement going across the page. He would just make everything come alive. So it's sort of movement and vitality.
Because you also shared a flat in Paris with Jessica Lange and Grace Jones.
I did.
I wondered, did you have any kind of rituals for going out? And who was the leader in your gang?
I don't know. Not sure. I mean, I was new kid on the block, and Pat Cleveland's completely mad, and we used to see a lot of her. And then Grace Jones, she was even newer than me. She just first come. And Jessica was very serious about becoming an actress.
Yeah.
But we had so much fun getting ready to go out dancing.
Yeah.
It was so much fun. We used to glue sort of glittery stars across our forehead. And we used to do all kinds of things.
Where did you start with an outfit?
Well, we would start with our makeup. And then, you know, we didn't have the kind of fabulous clothes that, you know, we wanted, but we would get things from flea markets, and sometimes some designer would give us something, and we would get things from like cheap shops in Pigalle, these kind of sexy lace body stockings and things. And then we'd have like a big belt. We'd sort of trade between each other with different things, you know. Can I borrow this and can I borrow that, you know? It was a lot of fun. Actually, the getting ready was the funnest part.
Yeah, it always is, isn't it? God, I suppose with your amazing bodies and beautiful faces, you could just have so much fun with very little.
So much fun.
Scraps.
And we used to put on little shows for our friends. We used to do like, we used to sing, "We're just three little girls from Little Rock."
Oh my God.
And we used to say to Grace, "You should be a singer. You've got such a good voice."
Oh, I would have died to have seen that. How amazing. Who did you put the shows on for?
Antonio and his friends, and, you know, we had some friends who were transvestites. And we used to put on, we were in this hotel, it had a dividing curtain with two beds on one side and one bed on the other side. And so we used to, you know, open the curtain and put on the show.
Oh, that must have been incredible.
We did get kicked out of a few hotels.
For making too much.
Too much noise and smoking pot and loud music.
God, it sounds so much fun.
Yeah.
And you then were booked to be on the cover of Bryan Ferry's album Sirens, and the designer Anthony Price painted you blue. And
yes.
How did you go from being
was such fun.
The blue cover girl to being in love with Bryan Ferry? How did that happen?
Well, I was living in New York, working, and I went and did the English Vogue cover, which the whole series was blue.
Was that the blue telephone?
Yeah, the blue telephone and the blue swimming cap and swimsuit. And so Bryan had hired me to come over to do his album cover. And he picked me up, and I was in a nice hotel. Anyway, he was so handsome, and he sang so beautifully. I was swooning. And then we went off to Wales by train to do this shoot. And Anthony had made this amazing mermaid outfit with these mermaid fins, and I had fins on my ankles, and I had an amazing crown, and Bryan was holding the umbrella because it was quite sunny, because I had this blue body paint and they didn't want it to melt. Anyway, we started up a romance, and we were engaged, and we were together for 2 years.
And then Mick whisked you away.
Yeah, Mick and I, we were together 23 years and 4 children. And now we've got 3 grandchildren. And we're still friendly. I'm still friendly with Bryan, too.
Yeah, I love Bryan. He's an amazing person. Because going back, I remember, again, in Mustique, you had this incredible...
Tell me what I'm wearing.
Yes. So you were the first girl that I saw being sexy and wearing flat shoes. And I remember when we were there in Mustique, you saying how hard it was to find flats. And how is it being incredibly beautiful and being incredibly tall? And I wondered, how does it affect how you plan a first impression when you're going on a date?
No, I mean, the good thing about it is at a party, you can see where your friends are. You can see over everybody. But no, I mean, I think, I've never been out with someone who was worried about me being taller than them, really. So I like wearing flat shoes because they're more comfortable, but high heels can look so pretty, especially with certain dresses. So, I tend to go for the kitten heel, not the really, really tall ones. I think those are a bit too tall.
How tall are you in a tall shoe?
Like, well, it depends. I'm 5'11", so
Right.
However tall the high heels are, I could be really tall.
It must be so much fun, though, looking down. Already you have these long legs. They're so long. And just having them even longer must be so much fun.
Yes, they do look nice in a photograph with heels. Yeah.
Because I was reading an interview that you did in 1978 with Andy Warhol and Bob Colacello, where you're all talking about jealousy, and they say to you, would you like to get married? And you say, I like being engaged, but I don't know about marriage. Guys start telling you what to do when you get married. And I wondered, has that been your experience?
Yeah, I think so, definitely. I've always been very independent. My mother brought us up to be quite strong and independent. My sister Cindy was girls champion bull rider and saddle bronc rider, RCA champion. She rode in Madison Square Garden. And my sister Rosie was Dallas Cowboy cheerleader. We've always been kind of athletic and independent. And yeah, I don't think, I don't think I could ever have someone tell me what to do anymore. No, definitely not.
Because didn't your mother say another brilliant thing, something about giving a man, something about a man having
let a man be the head, but remember you're the neck, and you can turn him how you like. I think she was quite a feminist.
Yes, it's a way, isn't it?
Yeah.
To
my daughter Lizzie, she's been working as a equal rights amendment feminist activist for the passing the ERA. She's been doing that for several years.
Wow. I suppose there's different. Being brought up in the South and having a dominant father, and you must have seen women sort of finding out different ways of getting needs met rather than being able to be, now it's the fashion to be direct.
My mother used to say, you catch more flies with honey than vinegar.
Oh my God. You have to have a lot of diplomacy as well, though, I suppose.
She was full of pearls of wisdom.
Because also you've talked about sitting for portraits by Andy Warhol, and
yes, Andy painted 6 portraits.
Really?
Yeah.
And what did he talk to you about? Did he want you to tell him?
I loved him. We were great friends. He was wonderful.
Did he want you to tell him interesting gossip?
He loved gossip. That was his favorite. And we talked a lot about cleaning products too. Oh. He liked cleaning products.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Yeah, because I told him how my mom cleaned everything with baking soda and vinegar. And he loved that.
What was his favorite cleaning product?
No, but he was, he would go out to the shop and buy different ones, try different ones, and say, "What do you think about this one or that one?"
That's so great.
No, he was lovely. He was such fun, such a sweet man. He was so generous and kind. Yeah, I miss him.
Yeah, he was a great.
It was terrible, how many people. There was a whole period in New York where so many people died. It was terrible.
I remember meeting him just once but it was after he'd been shot, and he was quite frail, and he came to London once, and it was really exciting to see him. I mean, as time passes, his work, I am more and more in love and obsessed with his work. I just
Me too.
think he's an incredible,
what a genius
artist. And yeah, because you've been very magnanimous about your exes, and you said Mick was a problematic husband but a good father, and you seem like a very loyal person, and I wondered, how did you cope with your feelings around his unfaithfulness?
Well, I mean, it was such a long time ago, but we're great friends. We just had Christmas together with his partner Mel, who is adorable.
Yeah.
And our children, some of his children, and grandchildren. We all went to Mystique. It was so lovely. No, I mean, as I said, really, I don't think about the past ever.
It's quite something to go through.
Yeah.
I totally get it, not to dwell on the past, and you clearly have come through things in a most kind of impressive and fantastic way that you're so happy. But it's,
Lucky.
thinking of you as this young woman, and I mean,
everyone wanted to sleep with him. He was so attractive and so talented.
Yeah.
I could understand.
But you use some.
He was Mick Jagger. What can you say?
And you just folded that. You kind of managed to.
Well, it was annoying, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, now I think, everything worked out the way it should have.
Yeah. Yeah. Because also you've worked with all the great fashion designers, and you made friends with Vivienne Westwood, and she really loved you. And what was the bond that sprang up between you?
Well, I just loved her clothes, what she was doing, There was sort of an Englishness, and history, and also, it was like a sort of costume. It was sort of look, I thought she had fun with it. I liked what she did, the way she would like twist things around and make them flattering in strange ways. She was mad as anything. And she was a lot of fun. I loved working with her, and I loved what she'd say. She'd say, like, before going out on the runway, she'd give us a little pep talk, and she'd say, "So you're women who live in a stately home in the country, and the family's lost all their money, and you're a bit mad." So funny.
Because when I worked for her, it was before she was doing her campaigning for environmental and
she
human
went completely
rights.
mad with that, and she was right.
Yeah, she was
so important.
She was very, very good at that.
Yeah.
And but when I worked for her, I suppose all her activism in a way came through clothes and being so individual and being so outlandish, and and creating extreme beauty that people didn't entirely understand, but that was how she pioneered her vision. And
she's so funny. She used to say women in the 18th century in the court had more power than they do now.
I know she was kind of quite random with her history and her I remember her saying she didn't really like Lucian's work much, and she said it was nothing compared to the work of the old masters. And it was like, I sort of was like, maybe, I wasn't.
She didn't understand art.
She wasn't interested in modern
painting,
art,
no,
was she?
no.
She liked
clothes,
Cranach and
yeah.
the people. She liked old masters. I've never really liked old masters much, but she loved them.
Yeah. I mean, some of them are amazing, yeah. But it was interesting that she was so much involved in the art world, and, it was interesting that she never kind of got it or embraced it,
She was interested in aspects of life in certain eras, wasn't she?
Yeah.
And how people...
Well, she was a history teacher.
Yeah. She was a very good teacher, actually.
I first met her... Sorry, I keep interrupting you.
No, I'd love you to...
I first met her when I was dating Bryan Ferry. I was living with Bryan Ferry. Yeah, and she was with Malcolm McLaren running a shop called Sex. And I used to go in there and buy things.
Really?
Yeah, I was like a regular customer. And they made the most amazing things.
What did you buy?
Well, the corsets, and she had pencil skirts. No, she had great clothes.
Because Jordan worked there then, did she serve you? Do you remember her? I was too scared to go in. I mean, maybe I hadn't even come to London yet, but I remember she had that white beehive, didn't she?
Yeah.
God. Yeah. How interesting that you met her then.
Before. And I thought she was great, with her shop, with Malcolm. I loved the things they had.
Yeah. Because before that, wasn't it Hung on You, that shop called Hung on You that was owned...
Hung on You, yes.
And Granny Takes a Trip, which...
Granny Takes a Trip was before my time.
Yeah.
That Mick used to go there.
Really?
Yeah.
How did Mick dress when you met him?
I mean, he's always looks great in clothes because he's very slim. He's got a great figure.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he would always, dress quite well sometimes. And, sometimes, I don't know. He was experimental. He used to try things. I mean, we spent so much time on these weird camping trips where we used to go hiking in the Himalayas and camping out, and we used to wear pretty awful clothes there. I would wear like these dirndls and kind of like Heidi German skirts and outfits. That's so funny. No, but Mick is very keen on fashion, and his stage costumes are always amazing.
Yeah, they were incredible. And if you fancy someone and don't like something they're wearing, does it kill your attraction?
No.
Never?
No, I wouldn't fancy them because of what they were wearing. I'm not a man. I shouldn't say that.
No, it's interesting. A good point. Is there a thing, because sometimes I find there's a thing that a man will wear that I find that garment attractive, and it makes me then more I know it sounds facile, but it makes me more attracted to them. Like, for some reason, I find denim shirts or khaki shirts really attractive.
Yes, I know what you mean. Yes.
Do you have anything?
Certain things like that.
Yeah.
I must say, when I go home to Texas and all the guys are wearing those cowboy belts with the big buckle, I quite like it. But you never see them around in London.
It's funny how there are certain pieces that people wear that sort of they just kind of warm up someone's qualities or some element of their masculinity that is suddenly makes them extra hot somehow or other. I love that.
I know what you mean. Maybe first impressions.
Yeah. Well, you need something to attract you, so.
No, what I love doing is when you drive down the street in a car and you look out the window and you look at people's clothes. I find it very interesting. Some people can just look fantastic. And even if they're older or if they might be quite large, the way they've styled themselves looks so great that it's quite interesting.
Yeah.
I actually saw 3 men today wearing the exact same outfit.
No.
Yeah. And it was this kind of shiny gray jogging pants with matching top that had a black stripe down the side.
How strange.
And I saw 3 men wearing that. I thought that was very odd.
A sign.
But I love watching people, what they wear and how they style themselves.
And you also sat for Lucian, my father, and you sat for him twice, and I love that little painting of you pregnant. And
so lovely.
How was your experience? Because I sat for him a lot, and he was a real stickler for punctuality. And when I was young,
I'm extremely punctual.
Are you? Because I was
have an
always
anxiety
late.
Attack if I'm late. Yeah.
And so you managed to be punctual for him.
Yes. Once I got a flu and was really ill. It went into some kind of bronchitis, and I was on antibiotics and was very ill, and I had to cancel, I think, 3 sittings. And by the 3rd time, he scratched me out. This was another painting. He scratched me out and painted his assistant breastfeeding my son.
Oh my God, because I always wondered.
It was so upsetting.
What had happened.
Oh, well, he's got a terrible temper.
Well, he doesn't go out with his rage. He goes in, doesn't he? And my fear was always to somehow that he would cut off. And so that was your experience. He suddenly closed down, and that was it.
Yeah.
Oh, God. So just the baby's left in the painting.
No, it's got his assistant breastfeeding the baby.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's in the Dallas Museum.
Wow.
Near where I come from.
Oh, God. But at least you got the little one of you.
The little one was lovely. That's when I'm 8 months pregnant. Yeah.
It was a fantastic
lovely
painting.
I enjoyed sitting for Lucian. I thought he was so interesting and amazing conversation. And one of my hobbies is poetry. I love reading poetry and writing poetry. And Lucian knew so much poetry. I was amazed.
Yeah, he loved poetry.
Yeah. And I found it very, very enjoyable spending time with him.
Do you remember which poems he, because he would remember huge poems off by heart, didn't he?
And I remembered lots of poems, and we would take turns reciting them.
Really?
Yeah.
Which poems did you?
Oh, I remembered a lot of Edgar Allan Poe. His was more English poets.
He liked Kipling, didn't he?
Yeah, Kipling, that was it, yes.
I remember he liked The Ancient Mariner, and he joked, and he remembered this line when the Ancient Mariner is stopping people walking by in the beginning, and there's this line that goes, "Let go, unhand me, grey-beard loon." So sometimes he would just say that. It was so funny. Yeah, it was great. How long did it take to do the small painting? Because he took a while, didn't he?
Well, it was fairly quick for him because I was having a baby.
Yeah.
So I think it was 2 months or something.
And did you go most days or?
I went, I think, 2 or 3 times a week.
Yeah. It's nice, the sitters, It was such a wonderful experience.
Oh, we had lovely lunches too. We had lunch with David Hockney and different interesting people. It was so lovely.
He was really good company, wasn't he?
Yeah. And so he must have painted you a few times.
Yeah, I sat for him. I think we did about 10 paintings.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
I sat for him a lot, and drawings and etchings and stuff. And then
that must have been hard.
Yeah, it was, but I really enjoyed it. And it was a time, especially when I started, I had very little discipline in my life. And so that was my discipline. And I watched him being self-disciplined and really learned about how to work by watching him.
Yes.
And kind of what I could get away with, even though I didn't want to get away with things, but I would be really late quite a lot, which he hated. And it was like a kind of, it was something, when you repeat things even though you don't want to. And I eventually managed to be punctual after about 30 years, but it was good to know how it didn't work. And I learnt that from kind of repeating this destructive behavior that I managed to rescue at the end by just continuing.
Yeah, I found it very interesting the way he would look at you so intently, so closely. As if he was studying the veins under your skin.
Do you remember when he'd look at you and then his eyes would open bigger, like to take more of you in?
Like he'd seen something.
Like a hawk or something. I remember when I was a teenager and thinking, I'm going to try that. And sort of going around like some ridiculous, just opening my eyes bigger and having some sort of mannerisms. So funny. And because you grew up in a time of male and female archetypes, and when it was considered unacceptable for a woman to ask directly for what she needs or wants. And has that changed now? And do you feel confident about being more direct, or is being less direct more fun?
No, I mean, it's a man's world, isn't it? It is still. Yeah. I mean, I think, like, say you've got a builder looking at something. I think they treat a man different than a woman.
Mm-hmm.
It's quite annoying.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's true, it is a man's world, but there's ways of being as a woman that sometimes they get you. If you can have the courage of your conviction, you can get exactly the same thing, but in a different way. But I don't know, I found there have been times where I've just thought, you know what, I don't care, have it, take it all, because the fear of insisting that what I want is more important than what they want is just overwhelming.
You're a people pleaser.
Yeah, I mean,
No, I'm not afraid of being unpopular.
I'm learning that.
I mean, why do you care if people like you or not?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's quite liberating to not care.
Mm-hmm. I'm getting there, and I'm finding the act of being more confident gives me a whole new set of method in a way. Do you find that?
Yeah, I do. I think it's lovely. I mean, I think it's a big mistake in life to care about what other people think, you know, or to want to be liked.
Mm-hmm.
I think you waste a lot of energy from what you want to do by trying to please people. I mean, I genuinely like gardening and entertaining and having people stay, and I love cooking, and I like looking after guests and looking after my children, my grandchildren, my friends. But nowadays, if I don't want to do something, I just say, no, that doesn't work for me.
I think I've learned that people would much rather be told no than have some sort of ambiguous kind of unknown status that
I think it's better.
is definitely better.
Whereas in the past, I'd go, oh, that sounds like fun. I'll see, I'll try, you know, all that.
Yeah, I've stopped doing that, and I think it's much nicer for everyone because you know exactly what works and what doesn't, and you can get on with it.
I think so.
Well, thank you so much, Jerry Hall.
It's so lovely chatting with you. It's quite relaxing. Yes. Thank you.
It's been lovely having you here and after knowing you for so long and
thank you.
Meeting you when I was, you know, in such a formative, and just seeing how fun it could be to be a girl. You know, you showed me that. I watched that and learned.
How lovely.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.